Would I buy a 2025R again today if I was starting all over? That's the question of the day. You want to know the answer? Stay tuned. Well, here she is. The short answer, if I never owned a tractor before, would I recommend buying the 2025R today? No, I wouldn't. Spoiler alert. I mean, I don't want you to shut the video off, but that's the answer. The answer is no, I wouldn't recommend it. Now, would I recommend trading it in if I already own it, it's paid for? I'll talk through that, but candidly, my needs have just evolved and changed. And also, when I got a tractor, I didn't know anything about tractors. When I bought my tractor, I didn't even buy it with a loader. Can you imagine that today? Buying a tractor without a loader? Well, why didn't you buy it with a loader, Sean? That's dumb. I thought it was too expensive and I didn't have that much money. And I was like, what on earth do I need to move routinely that's going to cost $4,500? I only had a couple things at the time I thought I would move. And I was also like, I could rent something or have somebody come help me to get that done. So yeah, I didn't even buy it with that. What I bought it for initially was mainly to mow lawn. So I didn't pile all that stuff on there simply just to be dramatic about the video, right? That's the drive over mower deck that I bought. And I don't use it at all to mow lawn anymore. So when I initially bought this tractor, it was primarily it was a glorified lawnmower. I needed something larger because I'm a big human being. So you bought the tractor to mow lawn, and then you had to go buy another mower. Is this tractor not a good mower? Not really. So at my property, what I find is I have a lot of hills. I can't really drive this tractor at my property outside of low gear. Now, I'm not expecting to be able to mow at, in high gear, just moving right along. But if I don't have it in low gear, it doesn't have enough power, it basically wants to die. And especially if I'm going up a hill, mowing at the same time, I have had this tractor flat out just die multiple times. So now I catch it and I'm like, oh, it's about to die. I hit the brake, I let my foot off the gas, and I let the engine catch up, and then I just inch my way up the hill. I don't know that anybody else on the internet is going to tell you that, but if you have hills, I don't believe that this tractor really has enough power to be able to mow adequately. Now, am I mowing wrong? How the hell do you mow wrong? I've got new blades, I've done all those things, but that's been my experience. So, when we first moved here, it used to take about 5 to 6 hours to mow. We have a zero-turn mower now, and it takes about 2.5 hours, but that's just the benefit of a zero-turn mower. But yeah, I don't think this is very good. I don't think this machine is good at being a mower. Okay, so forget about mowing. I see you have a box blade. Is it good at that? Not really. Again, in my scenario, my driveway, it's a pretty steep gravel driveway. Can it box blade going downhill no problem? No problem. It just can't. You got to be really careful when you're pulling this up the drive. Let's say you want to bring gravel that's washed down the hill back up the hill. You got to take, once it starts to fill up much more than this, it doesn't work well. It'll just sit there and spin the tires because it's not heavy enough. But yeah, if you have if this gets full, it ain't moving. The whole thing will just stop. So yeah, it's okay. Again, I know the answer is take smaller bites, spend more time. Yeah, all that's fantastic, but I'm still when the machine itself wants to die going up the hill because it ain't enough power, or it simply isn't heavy enough, that's kind of a problem for me. So yeah, I own this. Is it great at it? Not really. Now, other places I've used this, like spreading dirt and things of that nature on the flat, as you'd expect, there's no issue there whatsoever. So it really depends on your property. Do you have hills? If you have hills like me, I don't know if that's a good idea. So what about hills? I always basically feel like I'm about to flip over in this tractor. Now, people that know a lot more about tractors than me, like my brother, I know you're watching because you watch all our videos, he's routinely told me, stop being you're not going to flip over. When you think you're about to flip over, he always says, park the tractor, get out, give it a hell of a shake, then I guess if it rolls down the hill and kills you, then you were right. If it doesn't kill you, then I was right. Yeah, that's fine, but there are times that, like, we have different parts of the property. They do get ridiculously steep, and I know I've almost flipped over because I found myself on two wheels before, or I've flipped up the back end before. So it's more than the pucker effect when I'm on two wheels and I'm doing the oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So it just struggles in that area too. Well, you must have eventually found some money, maybe turned in some beer cans for some coins, and got yourself a loader. I don't really have too much complaints about the loader. The lift capacity is around 700 pounds. There's been a couple of times, I don't know what stuff weighs. Like, I've had some landscaping blocks on some pallets I was moving with pallet forks, and I was kind of going down the hill, and then all of a sudden, thankfully, I had the pallets low enough that they went to the ground with the forks in it, and then it just lifted my rear tires off the ground. It was scary, but it was at least square, so I wasn't like gonna flip over side by side. There are times that I wish it lifted a little more because, again, in situations like that, I then had to go get more pallets and I had to manually move the blocks over, where if it lifted a little bit more, I probably could have made less trips just because that's the way they were stacked up. The other thing is, because my needs have evolved, sometimes now I try to use this to unload semis. We have semis come here with trees and plants and things of that nature. When I put the forks on this and I come back behind a semi, I'm pretty high when I'm lifting things off of there. Now, I've done it a couple of times, it's worked, but my needs have changed in the last 9 years, so I don't know if I'd buy this machine to unload semis. What other issues have you had? Again, keep in mind, when I bought this, I really didn't know anything about tractors. I didn't know anything about three-point hitches, I didn't know anything about lifts, and I certainly didn't know anything about PTO horsepower. One of the first implements I bought was a tiller. I bought the 5-foot Tarter tiller from a farm store called Tyson's. Way too big a tiller. Now that's my fault. I don't blame the tractor for that. But at a 5-foot tiller, if you're thinking that that's going to work here, it will. It has. But you got to go really slow. And your machine will die multiple times. And you just don't want to drop it down all the way. You need to make multiple passes tilling that up each time. So that's not the tractor's fault. That's my fault. But something I want you to know about. I also bought a post hole digger. The lift arms, this machine really shouldn't do a post hole digger. You can go down and you have to come up, you know, to keep clearing it out, and that's fine, but you got to do that a lot, because otherwise the auger will go down, basically not necessarily bury itself, but it doesn't take much. You know, I'm not being an idiot here. It doesn't really take much to bury that auger, and to where you can't, the machine itself, because there's no reverse, it doesn't have the power to lift it back up. So that's happened to me a couple of times, where me and another guy basically had to do a deadlift to pull that pole out of the auger out of the dirt. And I really was like really careful, but it still caught me and it still got buried. So it's not really perfect for that either. The other thing that people talk about a lot is the seat and comfort and all that. I'm not even really going to get into it. Like, is this the most comfortable seat I own? No, it's fine. It's fine. My only complaint, and it has nothing to do with the tractor, that I'm 6'6" and a bigger dude. I don't have a ton of room on here like I wish I did. Now, that's not the tractor's fault, right? I sat on it before I bought it. I still bought it, but that's just my bad. I should have known better. Okay, so that's a lot of negative stuff there, Shauner. What do you like about this tractor? My number one feature that I love about this tractor is it's paid for, right? I don't have a tractor payment, and all these attachments and everything, they're all paid for. That's my favorite piece. So if there's one thing holding me back from trading it in, it's I don't really want a payment. Knowing all of the things that it doesn't do good, you can adjust your behavior to make it all work. Go slower, take smaller bites, all those things that they're going to read about on the forums. I just want you to know in the real world, those real problems kind of really suck. Like, here's another example. I don't ever use this thing to mow anymore. So now I have a mower deck taking up a big chunk of our garage. It's too expensive just to leave it out in the weeds, and no one really wants to buy just the mower deck and not the tractor and put it all together. So I am talking to some dealers right now about what this would be, what the value of this would be as it sits today. I think it has 244 hours in 9 years, so it's not like I use it a ton. But like snow removal, I can't use it for snow removal. I can drive down the hill. It doesn't have enough power or traction or weight to come back up. Now, could I fix that with some chains? Of course I could. Chains are $500. So before I spend another $500, I just want to make sure that it's what I want long term. So I'll have more videos talking about that later. I don't know if all these complaints helped you make your decision or made things more confusing, but I'm just being honest, man. Most videos I watch, everyone's like, oh, I love my tractor, and there's nothing wrong with it. So, no, I would, if I was to start over, I wouldn't buy this tractor. But 9 years into it with everything paid for, I might keep it. If I was a smaller human being, that would be pretty helpful. If I didn't live on hills, that would be pretty helpful. Well, if I was smaller and I didn't live on hills, I'd probably go buy one of those smaller 1 Series tractors that everyone seems to love. I flat out didn't fit on that. Anyway, what I'd like to know from you is, am I just being a weenie, right? That's possible. Or has this helped you with your purchasing decisions or anything like that? Let me know in the comments below, because I read every single one of those and I really value your input. So other than that, try to stay warm, and I'll see you next time.